activity is definitely up. There is activity at all sizes of MSP.
You've got to run a profitable company and it's got to be consistent and it's got to be growing.
You may need a larger, more sophisticated brand and company to help you deliver some of these complex security and cloud services.
New thinking requires a lot of planning. So I have a very special episode of Silver Linings today. I have 3 channel influencers joining me today, and they are really moving and shaking things in the channel, and I'm so blessed to have them on my podcast today. Welcome to the show, guys.
Hi, Sonny. How are you? Thanks for having us, Sonny.
Okay, so Arlin, we're going to start with you, respecting your experience. So can we start with state of the M&A in the channel? What do you see? I know you are part of many different groups. So what is your sense in terms of state of the channel?
Well, I think the first thing is that the MSP channel is strong. You know, we proved that going through the COVID years, and I think even with the slowdown in the economy or change in the economy, the channel is strong. So that's good news. That makes the M&A side of the channel also strong. And so I would say that there have been some adjustments that have been made with the change in the economy. Due diligence is going up. People can't afford to make mistakes, so they're being very careful and cautious to turn over all the rocks and understand what's there. But there's still great demand. My analysis is that it's still strong, and while it's adjusting to the reality of the world, I don't see it slowing down in the near term at all.
Yeah, so I think just starting out with, I think the clear perspective on M&A activity at this point in the year, or it's busy. It is maybe not quite to the same level of frenetic activity that we saw back in 2021 or 2022, but activity is definitely up from some of the low levels that we saw in 2023. And I really think it's there is activity at all sizes of MSP, whether it's small little organizations looking to do acquisitions themselves, all the way up to scaled MSPs that are looking to either do add-ons or substantial strategic acquisitions, and everything in between. There's a tremendous amount of activity. And I think what's interesting too is that even in spite of the high interest rate environment that we've been in now for quite some time, and likely staying at this higher level for the foreseeable future, it hasn't put a massive damper on the activity in the market.
At a high level, larger deals, PE-backed platforms, probably companies with north of $50 million of revenue and at least 15 to 20% EBITDA margins. I think there has been an impact, right? I think when money costs 4 or 5%, and now all of a sudden you're going out and borrowing at 8, 9, 10, 11%. Obviously, that impacts what you can pay on a multiple. In general, I think there's no real tax concerns right now. We've seen deal flow on the M&A side over the last 6 months slow considerably. So I would say 2021 is the busiest I've ever been in my M&A career, 20 years plus. And I would say, probably November, December was about as slow as that we had seen it. It's starting to pick up right now. I think there's a little bit of pause, a little bit of reset on some of the higher, larger ones, but I think most MSPs that are looking for a liquidity event, hopefully, that have, call it $5 million of EBITDA or less, I think it's business as usual, full steam ahead, and a lot of money out there chasing too few assets. So,
yeah, the opportunity is there. The whole M&A, M&A in the channel is still very vibrant. But there's some things changing. For example, for bigger EBITDA MSPs, less changes in terms of multiple. But smaller EBITDA MSPs, there's a bigger opportunity for the buyer, and there are probably less opportunities for the seller. And also the overall money equation is changing a little bit in terms of the due diligence side of it.
Yep.
In Ireland, what's your biggest advice to entrepreneurs that are buying companies, or their growth strategy is M&A as well? When it comes to look for right candidates, what is the number one thing that you want them to look for?
Well, the thing I find that most MSPs lose sight of, they might build the greatest culture in the world. They got to be consistently profitable. And, I don't think Kevin or Jake's going to look at anybody that's got the Disney culture if they're losing money. You've got to run a profitable company and it's got to be consistent and it's got to be growing. And so that's where I think a lot of MSPs kind of lose sight of what they're trying to accomplish. And on the buy side, certainly EBITDA is a huge consideration, and the size of that EBITDA bucket matters significantly to a buyer because it's as much work to integrate a small company as a large company in a lot of ways. And so, it's important that you're looking for companies that can make an impact in your organization because integration is the hardest part of the whole process.
Okay.
Every time you do an acquisition, you can't get all together and sit down and say, well, who's got the best process for this and who's got the best process for that? That's got to all go away and you follow the playbook. So those are the kinds of things that I would be encouraging people to think about if they're going to be on the buy side is know what your strategy is, know what your playbook is to integrate, and then just be disciplined and hold people accountable to get the work done.
It's all about good people, Sonny. We have a great team here at Thrive. In our industry, it's all about people. So when you meet good entrepreneurs that have built good businesses and they have good management teams underneath them, we're really highly attracted to them, regardless of geography or vertical or focus. It's really, we just want to find great people to join the team.
I think ultimately the determination you need to be thinking about is how does the addition of that group of staff, how does that fit into your organization? And does it fit into your organization? Is it consistent with the vision of your business, the way in which you seek to develop your talent, the way in which you seek to serve your clients? Does that all fit with your go forward intentionality for the business, or is it simply just a financial construct that you're seeking to take advantage of? So I think ultimately, it just comes down to how does it fit in your organization, and if it does, and you're committed to that, then I think you've got a much higher degree of success to come out of it.
Yeah, that is so true. So that leads me to the next question. And the biggest entrepreneurial learning you have had so far that you would like the channel to know?
I think the reality is that my biggest learning is the importance of relationships. All of us have been in the technology business for a long time. We sell stuff, we make it work, we can fix anything. But if we want to really grow a successful company, we have to understand the importance of building deep relationships. And those relationships happen with our teams, with our customers, with external resources, with vendors. There's a lot of relationships required to put together a truly successful growing business. And those relationships take time. And I find a lot of times MSP owners don't value those enough to invest the time to really make those relationships deep. And they run out of gas and then they don't continue to grow because they haven't invested in the people they need to be connected with to really make that happen.
I think the number one question an entrepreneur who's running an MSP needs to decide is, do I want to run this as a lifestyle business, or at some point, do I want to build something to an exit? And that's really what I ask anyone that's even just consulting or I get introduced to or meet. And assuming that an entrepreneur, as you framed up earlier, wants to make an exit in the next 3 years, my advice would be, is to really sit down and decide, all right, what are you looking for in this liquidity event? Are you trying to maximize value? Are you trying to find a great home for your employees? Are your customers now starting to outgrow you where you may need a larger, more sophisticated brand and company to help you deliver some of these complex security and cloud services? It helps to talk to, an M&A advisor. There's a lot of those to get an idea of, hey, roughly what am I worth today? And, where I try to help entrepreneurs understand is if you've been doing the same thing for 5 years, and I hear this all the time, well, my next 5-year plan is going to do this. I'm like, all right, you've been doing it for 10 years. How have your other 2 5-year plans worked out? And then I say, well, what would it look like if you were to take, let's say 20 or 30% of the cash that you would receive from a liquidity event now and roll it into stock into a Thrive? And do you think that we can help you grow that 20 or 30% or 40%, whatever number you want to come up with, rollover faster than you could do on your own? The power of private equity and good investments and good platforms are going to make that money grow faster than you probably can grow the valuation on your own. In the vast majority of the cases, not every case, but in many cases, rolling over into the right partner and strategically growing that investment at a faster pace is going to provide you with taking some apples off the table and then rolling some forward to give you the best risk-reward future blend of mix.
So the value of planning, or paying a lot more attention to planning, before you start something else, something new. New thinking requires a lot of planning. So thank you so much for coming and sharing your thoughts. Very, very valuable experience with the channel. I truly appreciate your friendship.
Thank you, Sunny. Happy to do it.
Have a great
Thank
day.
you, Sunny.
Thank you for watching Sunny's Silver Linings. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you next time.